Hey, welcome to Cherryvale episode 10. Wow, we're in double digits already, which is crazy, but we're not in double digits in the episodes of this villager project that I'm working on. I say villager, but yeah, no villagers have been involved as of yet. We made this wheat farm 2 episodes ago, works pretty well, and is fully automatic. We currently have 0 in the chamber because it is all being automatically turned into bread with this bakery that we made in the last one. And I believe we do actually have, a good 1,000 bread, which is pretty neat. And the reason I've made a wheat farm and a bakery to get an infinite source of bread is that we need to make a villager breeder, and villagers really like breeding when you give them bread. So that's going to be the project for today. We're going to build a villager breeder and get some villagers for it, and one of those is a lot easier than the other, so let's go ahead and start with the buildings. If I get the villagers first, I won't have a place to put them, so that is not gonna work. But first I have to decide where I want to put this thing, and honestly I haven't thought about it that much, but I think it's gonna go like here-ish. Right, part of the reasoning for that, because I've thought about it a little, is that I don't want to have item lines like this conveyor belt that are really long, so I want the bread to not have to travel that far, and well, that is not that far away from the bread storage silo, so I'm thinking we just put it here, and then the rest of the villager stuff can kind of also get shoved along in a line right here. It'll make it all nice and close together, and also pretty close to my base, which is pretty cool. And additionally, it is right up against the mountain, which means I have plenty of space underground to do pretty much whatever I want, because a lot of things like the zombification machine and the villager trading hall are going to need a lot of this space, so that's just kind of an added benefit. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started on the actual breeder itself, and it's a pretty simple like mechanism of a build. It's just the aesthetics that I have to actually work on, but you guys don't have to see that part, so let's go ahead, jump into a time lapse, and get this thing built. So apparently I'm really into this like make a little alcove with dirt thing and then put something in it, because I did it with this one in the last episode. I kind of did it again, though I gotta say I think this one looks a little bit worse just because the tree makes a little bit less sense. This tree is like nice and big, and this one looks like the mildest of breezes would knock it over because it has such a wacky like root structure, I guess. It's also just way too tall, but whatever, it's kind of fine. And honestly, this build doesn't have to look perfect, because the important part is down below here where we have a villager breeder. And like I said, it is an extremely simple system that I'll probably explain later when I actually have villagers in it, and we could go ahead and do that now, but there's one more thing that I kind of want to do first, and that is to make the villager holding cell, where the villagers that the villagers breed are going to be like held while we're waiting, like while it's waiting for me to call one to actually zombify it, probably in a building over here. And the reason I need that is because I obviously want to be able to call one whenever and not have to wait for the villagers down here to breed. So that kind of needs to get built, and the reason I want to do it before I get any villagers in is because if I have villagers down there while I'm trying to build something down there, it's going to be a whole problem, because I might like accidentally break the fence and then they're like free, and just working with villagers that are on the loose in any capacity is the worst. So I am going to avoid it at any cost, and that means building the whole holding cell right now. Luckily though, it's really not too hard to build one of these things. I really just need a baby filter and then pretty much an on-off switch for the breeder. I'll explain how both of those work once I actually get them built, which I'm going to do right now. That was in fact pretty darn easy. I've added in a couple different redstone circuits as well as the baby filter, and pretty much the way that this all works is I can't have babies going into the zombification machine. They're the wrong height, so they just break the entire thing, so we need to make sure only adult villagers actually go through, and that's what this whole system is about. The babies drop from here into this water stream, they get pushed under these trapdoors, then when they grow up, their heads are in the water, so they swim up, and then they're in this bit of water, and then this is kind of the holding chamber, and this observer is what I mean by an on-off switch. Once we get about 4 villagers in here, there will be a villager in front of this observer, which will make this redstone block go in like forward, which will permanently turn on this dispenser, which will actually turn off the entire villager breeder. So pretty much it just, once I have 4, it won't make any more, because 4 is enough that I'll like that if I use one of them so that it actually turns the breeder back on, there's enough time that more villagers will come through before I actually use all of those four. So it's kind of the perfect amount. And also it means it won't lag the game at all because there's at most 4 villagers in there at any one time. And then this bit of redstone is pretty much once there's any bread in this dropper, it actually turns off this little funnel here. So it just doesn't like use all of my bread at once. And there's only actually one more thing required for this to be fully functional, and that is these 2 observers that I have to have this dispenser constantly going. But currently that would just throw a whole lot of bread on the ground because there's no villagers to pick it up. So that is the next thing to do, is we gotta go actually get some villagers. So I'll leave these observers here for future use, and then yeah, I'll put those in the actually correct place once we have villagers in the system. So I guess let's find a village and figure out how to get villagers from there to here. And while there is a ruined village literally right here, and I'm pretty sure these things are kind of ridiculously rare compared to normal villages, there isn't a normal village pretty much anywhere near me. The closest one that I've found is way over this way. I think it's only a couple hundred blocks, but getting a villager from a village over to here is going to kind of suck, which is why I'm actually going to try something that I haven't really done before. Most of the time I get a boat, I get the villager in a boat, I use pistons to get them higher up, and then I just drive the boat until we get, you know, to where I'm going. But I'm going to try doing it with nether portals this time. Because theoretically, if I build a portal right here, which is pretty close to my main base, this should pop us out directly in a village, despite the fact that I've never actually built the portal here. But yeah, we have a portal in a village, and there's some villagers right here. I've been to this village before. This is where I've gotten silk touch for like getting grass and podzol for builds and stuff. So there's a couple villagers stuck in holes. There's a Fletcher there, and there's a librarian stuck in that house over there. But this place should have plenty of villagers for us to get into this portal. So the idea is I'm going to get a bunch of blocks from my base. I'm going to probably just take these 2 maybe, although I'd prefer to have 2 villagers that don't have a profession, just not because of any functional reason, just because I want to. But I'm going to block off the path to the nether portal and kind of just push them in. And then once they're in the nether, I'll get them captured in boats so that they don't run off. Well, I've done it. I have 1 villager here in the overworld, and the other one actually ran into the nether portal before I could get him into a boat, so he's kind of in there. I did capture him in a boat after the fact because he would still just run away. But now that guy is in the nether as well, and I have to catch him before he escapes too much, and sadly they can run away, and there's 2 of them here now, and the other guy also ran this direction, so I guess they just like this way. But yeah, we got our 2 villagers, got the guy over here and the guy in this boat. And I'm not using this guy because, well, he's a Fletcher, and it would weirdly upset me. But I will use his head somewhere, maybe. I don't know. Might just get just shoved in a chest for a while, though. But I'm going to get these 2 over to that portal, and then I guess I have to figure out a way to actually herd them into that portal and have them not immediately just, like, run away. I reckon this should do. I've covered everything in dirt, and I've done the same in the overworld. I have a path going to where I actually need the villagers to go. So theoretically, if we just like break one of these boats, this guy will maybe go into the nether portal. Oh, or he'll go into the other boat. Okay, break both of the boats, and then these guys will just eventually go in here. That's the theory, is that they'll just like wander in. Yeah. Go in the portal. I probably should have brought slabs so I could actually like push them in. Yeah, this is, oh, okay, they win. Both of them win, it looked like. So now they should be in the overworld, and I'm just gonna like, I have more blocks, going to stop them from going back into the nether, and I'm pretty much just gonna like push them out until they, yeah, get to a certain point, and then we like block them off, and they shouldn't be able to like go backwards is the idea. So you go this way, please. Yes, go, and they're not allowed back in my house. Okay, now, the next step, I think I actually need a silk touch tool for, so I have to go get that. But pretty much, if I reveal the beds that they're gonna go to, since it's like kind of becoming nighttime, they should just like immediately pathfind to the beds because they like beds because they're villagers and they like sleeping through nighttime. That guy's he's booking it over there. The beds are not accessible yet, so I don't really know what he's planning on doing. But if I just like do this, right, and like push him in the hole. Yeah, in a bed. Perfect. Next guy is, he's coming. Okay. I kind of love that they do this because it's the only reason villagers are ever fun to, like, herd, because they kind of sometimes actually pathfind. Look at that. Beautiful. I think all the glass is down there, but I'm going to go ahead and sleep real quick, and we get to see if this works. Theoretically, they should both get up into the center here, and while I can jump out, their AI simply doesn't let them, which is pretty neat. And it looks like we're all good. Put that glass back and get on out of here. Now we just have one thing left to do. I got rid of all the dirt, and if I rearrange these observers to actually be in the correct location, I haven't really thought about how I'm going to do that, but if I do that and that, it should be throwing a very large amount of bread at the villagers, but it should be doing it at like a kind of slow rate, which is exactly what I want it to do. Because while these guys can hold, like, I'm pretty sure an infinite amount of bread, like, I don't think there's an inventory limit to them, I don't want to just like immediately throw all 1,300 of my bread at them. So there we go. They are making new villagers for us, and once they make enough of them and they all grow up, it will stop giving them bread because it will go ahead and activate that observer. And there we go. We got our first little baby in there. And I've been thinking, I have an idea that might be a good addition to this whole, like, thing, which is if we could somehow detect that there's a baby in here, we could turn this, the dispenser off when there's one in here. And then, you know, once that one grows up, then we would obviously give them more bread. It would just slow it down a little bit, because at this rate, it really is going to use all my bread really quite fast. And there's nothing I can really do to stop it. But honestly, I made an automatic bread farm for a reason. It's kind of fine if it does that, and once it builds up a surplus of villagers, it should use a little bit less bread. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. I will let this thing run quite a bit in between episodes, but these guys take 20 minutes to grow up, so I'm not waiting for that, but I'll let you know how it goes in the beginning of the next one. But before we go, we've got some channel membership shoutouts to do, and also, if you're not on this list and you are a channel member, that's because this episode is like a week pre-recorded, so you might not be on here even if you have already subscribed, just fair warning. But big thanks to Nick, Algaman, Rain 2.0, the 3D Gamer, When, Anime Weeb, and Dutch Caffeine. Caffeine? Yes, Caffeine. For subscribing, or for being a member of the channel. If you want to become a member, you can do that down in the description below. You get access to the community Discord server and the community Minecraft server. But anyway, other than that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit all the relevant buttons down below, and I will see you next time.